My dad was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker.
He was skilled as a toolmaker, highly skilled.
And your dad, I think it's right to say, was a toolmaker?
He was a toolmaker, yeah.
Dad was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker. And he was a toolmaker. He was a skilled man. And it's hard work, it's skilled work.
With my dad, he was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker.
My dad was a toolmaker. Although, in a way, so was Boris Johnson's.
Can I call you Keir?
Yeah, of course you can. People have called me a lot worse than that, John.
I don't know how you've got the guts to come to this city after you have been being interviewed and doing columns for the Sun newspaper.
I came here to speak to this man, not your security. You have failed me.
Thank you.
I've been a Labour voter my entire life. You have failed to be the opposition. You have failed to ask whether lockdown was functioning. Do you understand?
I'm on very good terms with many, many Tory MPs. I'm not ashamed about it.
Shall we go on in?
Thousands of people have died because you have failed to do your job and ask the real questions. Well, I am telling you now, and I hope this goes out, you have failed this country. You have seriously failed.
And I've got very good friends who are Tories, and they've been very, very good friends of mine for a very, very long time, and long may that last.
You lied to us about uniting the party. I'm still a Labour Party member, and you've expelled and witch hunted in the most vicious way I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've been a member of the Labour Party for a long, long time.
We have to model the unity that's desperately needed in our party.
You absolutely said you had 10 pledges, you were going to carry on the Corbyn legacy. And ever since, you've done nothing but distance yourself from the ideas which tens of thousands of people joined the Labour Party to support. And all you've done is feed into the Tory ideology of not supporting strikes, of carrying on with the privatisation of our health service.
And your mum was a nurse?
Yes, she was. And my mum was a nurse.
Mum was a nurse.
You'll have heard this before, Nick. My mum was a nurse. My sister was a nurse. My mum was a nurse. And my mum was a nurse.
Dishonesty.
Thank you very much.
And our health services
Thank you
go
very
right
much.
down the pan. And you have a big responsibility, the working class people of this country.
Can you move back, please?
Excuse me.
She was a nurse in the NHS.
My mum was a nurse. My mum was a nurse in the NHS. My sister was a nurse in the NHS. My sister was a nurse, and my mum was a nurse.
My mum worked in the NHS. My sister worked in the NHS.
Where it is necessary to reduce our waiting lists to allow people to go or to refer people to the private sector, I do support that.
I want to pay tribute to Jeremy Corbyn, who led our party through some really difficult times, who energised our movement, and who's a friend as well as a colleague.
What's your personal relationship towards him, Sir Keir?
Oh, I haven't spoken to Jeremy Corbyn for 2.5 years now. So
is he a friend? Was he a friend?
No, I mean, as I say, I haven't spoken to him for 2.5 years.
In 2020, he was a friend, Sir Keir.
Well, I worked with him, Nick, as you know.
Did you feel bad about it? Because back in April 2020, you described Jeremy Corbyn as your friend, and now you've kicked him out.
There's only
Do you feel bad?
There's one person who is responsible for the fact that Jeremy Corbyn will not be a Labour candidate at the next election.
Jeremy has been able to mobilise 600,000 members and to inspire the support of over 12 million people.
Let's just run through it. I didn't vote for him in 2015 when he stood as leader. I wanted him to stand down in 2016. He won again. I again didn't vote for him. But I did take the view that we needed an effective opposition and that I shouldn't just walk off the stage.
Right. But in January 2020, quotes, Jeremy Corbyn is a colleague, he's a friend, he's led us through some really difficult times in the Labour Party.
Yeah,
now he's not a friend.
He did, because, Nick, very straightforwardly,
People will remember, though, you standing shoulder to shoulder with Jeremy Corbyn saying he should be Prime Minister, and now they see you stabbing him in the front. Some people will think that. Do you worry that voters might think that either you're not to be trusted, or they might conclude that with friends like Keir, who needs enemies?
Well, we went into that 2019 election, and the electorate gave their verdict.
Do you think people actually want their politicians to be a little bit boring?
Look, the only thing boring is being in opposition.
No, I know you've rehearsed that, but I'm just asking you a straight question. Do people want their politicians to be boring?
There are two central charges against you. One is you're a man, and the second is you're too boring. How do you plead to both of those allegations?
Members of the public think you are boring, bland and dull.
Tell me a Labour Prime Minister that wasn't charismatic.
Oh, well, I don't think that's a... There are many examples, and the moment I name one, you'll just say, well, look, Clement Attlee, everybody said, well,
we have to go that far back.
Oh, look, everybody said Clement Attlee,
What's happening that who you are doesn't seem to connect? Or are you a bit boring? I don't know.
I don't think I am.
What did Tony Blair have that you haven't?
Well, Tony Blair's won 3 elections, so when I've won 3 elections, I'll accept that I have achieved what he achieved. He won 3 elections, he put the Labour Party in power for 13 years and changed millions of lives for the better, and we should be proud of what we did in government. One of the points I was making, and one of the points I was making to the Hall yesterday, we need to be proud of what was there.
He was charismatic and he managed to get his points across.
Do you think there's something you need to change about yourself, or do you think it's more that you need to stop being a lawyer and start being a bit more of a politician? And what I mean by that is you seem to weigh all your words so carefully when you're on camera.
Well, it's not really for me to rate it, it's for other people to rate it. The impact on the people in the conference hall was pretty profound. The speech was actually timed at just over an hour. It ended up lasting an hour and a half because there were so many standing ovations and so much applause. So
not just standing ovations, to be honest.
So you see, shouting slogans or changing lives conference.
Well, look, it's a broad church, and there is something.
People die in Broadchurch.
Well, look, it's a broad church, and there is.
So you see, family life taught me about the dignity of work and the nobility of care. Conference, as I say, slogans or changing lives. Slogans we can chant all day.
Cavalry is coming under a Labour government. Staff in this hospital need to know the cavalry is coming. The NHS needs to know the cavalry are coming. Morale is very low in the NHS. The cavalry is coming under the next Labour government.
We can chant all day.
They're sticking plaster politics. We've done too much sticking plaster politics, I'm afraid. We've been sort of engaged in the quick fix, the sticking plaster fix to politics. Oh, well, look, I did violin lessons with Fatboy Slim back in the day.
At this time on a Wednesday, it's normally the Tories that are heckling me. Doesn't bother me then. Won't bother me now.
I spent the summer going to places where we lost votes. And I did 3 days.
It took you ages.
It took me ages.
But are you a millionaire?
No, I'm not a millionaire. I haven't got that kind of earnings.
Where do
no,
you
of course
live?
I haven't.
What sort of house do you live in?
I live in a house in North London.
What's it worth?
It's probably worth over $1 million now. I didn't pay $1 million for it.
But you're a millionaire.
No, I watch football whenever I can, and I'm a season ticket holder at Arsenal.
This hasn't always been an easy conference. Sunday was particularly nerve-wracking, but then the results started coming through. Arsenal 3, Tottenham 1.
You live in a property worth over £1 million. How much do you earn?
I live in North London in a house which didn't cost £1 million, and I'm paying off the mortgage like
worth over £1 million.
Many other people.
But if you live in a house over £1 million, you are one of the elite you profess to hate.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of death row work, cases from the Caribbean, and we've established some really important principles there about not sentencing everybody to death. I also got made a Queen's Counsel, which is odd since I often used to propose the abolition of the monarchy.
Did you win any awards? I believe you did.
I was awarded the Human Rights Law of the Year in 1990. No, in 2000. Do you want to do that again?